recording now. I ask you if you can to leave your camera on because that will help me come with, let me just do the other way. You help me if I go without the microphone again or any technical challenge. It's a lot easier for me to see faces than actually to see the chat. So if some of you can leave the camera on and interact with me and just share with me your concerns and what is odd or something needs more detailed explanation will be great. But I guess besides that, we are good to go. So let me just open the chat in the other screen so I know if something is coming up. Nice. All right, so today the topic is 100% interview, but we're going to talk about strategies. What I mean by strategies is formulas so you can come to an interview knowing how to answer any interview. I'm not going to give you the correct answer. This is the only way you can answer. I'm going to give you strategies so you can come with an answer that represents you as you are, and then this will be your answer over and over and over. You can repeat this answer many times and you can still differentiate from each other. So if you do have a question, just go in the chat and share with each other. If you have a specific question, you can help each other because with those strategies, you will never have the same answer as one another. And that is actually how you're going to get hired abroad, because I'm going to bring the cultural point, I'm going to bring your personality on, and all those things. It doesn't really matter if this person worked as a co-worker for 10 years, they're going to give completely different answers than yours. But why you should listen to me, who am I, and why you should trust me? I'm part of the VanHack team for about a couple of months now, but I've been working with as a career advisor in Canada for a few years, and I did a career change from engineering to career advisor. So I know how hard it can be to go from a completely technical world where there is only yes or no, and 100% right, 0% right, being 100% wrong. And if your teacher, if your boss is in a very good day, he can say you are in the right way, to a word that there is literally no right or wrong. So I came up with a VanHack to make sure that we can have the best practices for the candidate to make sure that it's completely aligning to your expectations, your dreams, your career goals, your personality. In our profile, on our interview, on the mock interview, in the English verification for the code. The code is less personal because you have to follow instructions, but English and profile, it's you. It's a picture of who you are. We also provide mock interviews and profile reviews and networking, both on the free version, which is the VanHacking recruiting side, where if you get a position, if you get an interview, you're going to receive the mock interview. If you get a position, we're going to help you out with visa. But if you feel like you're not getting any interviews right now because you still have to study, we also offer all of those things for as a membership, which is called VanHack Premium Academy. Academy means helping you to educate yourself to be stronger for an interview, for a profile review, for the career. But this is an educational platform and it's completely separate from the hiring event. I know it's a lot. It can be confusing. I'm giving you a lot of explanation. Maybe you joined VanHack yesterday and none of that made sense so far. I'm going to get back to the interview, but if it's really, really messy, we also have a webinar called 4 Steps to Get Hired Abroad, where I go step by step through the profile, step by step by the code challenge, English verification, and it's more target to people who just joined. If you are very eager to go and do it, you also have this recording in the YouTube video. You don't have to wait for another month to do it. But what I want to talk about, the fear in this picture, is not exactly about the fear with VanHack or how to apply within VanHack. It's about the fear of interview. I know when you go online and you put your face in the camera is already very hard. When you are talking about yourself, it can sound almost like you are bragging instead of actually um, sharing a story. And we are going to talk in a way today that we're going to understand the mindset for most countries that we work with, which is Canada, US, German, um, and so on and so forth. So you can understand the way they think, so you can say in a way that makes sense for them, and it's not you saying that this is bragging, this is just me showing off. No, this is how they want to hear. So do not fear interviews anymore. Today is the last day that you're going to do that. I chose 10 of the most common questions and I divided in 3 blocks. So I'm going to give you 3 strategies to answer those. The first block is tell me about yourself, which is actually the first question for the English verification. That's the reason you can use this webinar for both reasons. How would you describe yourself? What makes you unique? What you are passionate about? The second block, can you tell me about a stressful situation at work, which is the second question for the English verification. Discuss a technical challenge you have faced. What is the greatest accomplishment? Another block, another strategy. And the last strategy, which it's going to be a lot of homework for you for sure. It's why should we hire you? What are your goals for the future? And where you see yourself in 5 years. Especially the last group, you're gonna do for yourself a research on yourself, and you're gonna have to research the company as well. So for that reason, this question will help you with the English verification, but it's not there. If you don't have the company you're applying for, how can you say why we should hire you? It would be unfair. So for the English verification, we have one more question, which I'll give you some tips by the end, but this is the main goal for today. For the first block, I'm going to stick with tell me about yourself. And I want to give you 2 ways to answer that question. The way of the body language and the way of the words you choose to express that. Let's start with body language just because we have camera here, you can already practice today. Very few people actually make eye contact. And I know some of you can come from a Persian culture, can come from the Asian world, and looking straight to the eye, which today is the camera. So if you're doing an interview, a mock interview, it's better if you look straight to the camera instead of, for example, now I'm going to take a look to the chat. I'm going to move, and no one will know if I'm looking to you or not. So my recommendation is that to make eye contact in a virtual world is to have your camera. I have my face right below my camera. So when I'm looking to myself in the camera, I know that it feels like I'm looking to the camera right now. If I put the camera right down, I'm going to be looking down and I'm not going to have eye contact. And this is a way to make people trust you in just one simple way. Another very important one to make sure that people trust you is smiling. I know it can be hard, and I cannot talk like this and feel like I'm not talking at all because I'm smiling and sounds odd and it feels odd. But every time I stop, or if I make a joke, which I do a lot, I can stop and smile and show my personality in there. The hair, the way you look, none of that matters. What matters is in the inside. So research the company, know your strengths, know your weakness, showcase your weaknesses, your strengths. No one is perfect. If you pretend to be perfect in an interview, the interviewee, the interviewer are going to be looking for that slight problem. If you just provide them the problem, they're going to target oh, okay, if that's a problem, I know how to deal with that. Let's say that, for example, for me, one problem could be that I'm just too informal. Let's say I'm applying for a company that it's a legal, in the legal industry. And I just say, I'm just too informal. Sometimes I forget the words. So I try to make mimics and to express myself. Most likely I'm not a good fit for this company. But let's assume that they have a technical law English course that they can just provide me for free or include it in my paycheck. That's a way that by sharing my weakness, which in that case would be a weakness, but for VanHack is a strength, they can figure out if I'm the right candidate or not. So research the company, understand yourself, bring all your knowledge from both parts, and for sure this will help. Right now, bad posture, I would say that it would be during a in-person interview, if you're like this, or if you're looking down, or if you have your hair covered. But in a virtual world, it's about lighting, it's about sound, it's about camera. Can you imagine if I was like this? How weird would be the presentation? So like having the distance and all of you who have the camera on have great lighting. The background is clear. You could always be strategic, and let's say I'm a Disney fan like crazy. I I I see all the princess movies, Pixar movies. I know all the documentaries. I read all the books. But let's say then I researched someone on LinkedIn, and that person is also a Disney lover. I could just put something here to bring the topic, maybe my favorite on Dory or Moana, and I just could have here so the person could say, "Oh, you like Disney," and I can say, "Yes, do you like it too?" And of course, I've already researched, I know the answer, but at least it's a nice way to make an icebreaker. Let's say the person is crazy about deep diving. You can bring that up. I saw your LinkedIn. I noticed that you deep dive. I do too, or I'm interested at. So those things became the posture you want to say. You want to show that you did the research, that you did the company research, the person research, and that you know where you're getting in. But of course, first impressions is visual, it's not only words. So dress in a way that represents yourself. Let's say you are a CEO. You might require some blazer or tie or a suit. But if you're not, it doesn't really matter as long as it represents you. No shirtless. I know that we have a lot of Muslim, for example, in the culture, the women need to wear the veil. I'm not saying do not wear the veil. I'm saying put a big light on so the veil doesn't cover your expressions. Let's say you only can have your eyes open. Make sure that you express yourself with your eyes. You cannot shake hands. So how can you make the same intention of shaking hands, the smile, or maybe just like, hi, how are you? We are going to have to figure out new ways to express our personality and the first impression without saying a word. So lighting is huge. I, I, I have to say that a lot of the English verifications that we void is because of the lighting. When it's too dark and we cannot see the mouth moving, we cannot guarantee that that voice it's actually from that person. So we need to ask to make it again, so to make sure that we can guarantee that this is not someone just faking an English verification. And trust me, that already happened. So it has a reason to be that way. Quality of voice, grammar, and confidence. You see that there is no accent in here. Accent doesn't matter as long as you can have a clear English and express yourself. A lot of you may have English as your first language and have an accent. People from England, people from South Africa, that doesn't matter. And the same goes for us. I'm Brazilian. I know I have a strong accent. I try my best to minimize it, but that's not about it. As you can see, all the time I make small mistakes, I make confusion, but if you can understand me, that's what matters. But the choice of words, it's important. If you say bad words in a video, an intro video, the English verification video, that's not considered nice. It's not the right place. But let's say you are applying for a position, you already got to an interview, and you felt that the people who is interviewing you, it's actually a friend conversation. If it happens to come out by mistake, not intentionally, a word that it doesn't really align, it's okay because the people is in the same level as you're connecting, it makes sense. But if out of nowhere you just say like, yo, it's not going to make sense for interview. It's not only about saying shit or any order like very wrong words. Even if it's something that it doesn't connect or being rude or perceived as rude, it's important. And I want to emphasize the posture again, because you have to research or like trust me that looking in the eyes, it's important. It's smile, it's important. And do not cover a lot your arms. Do not hold yourself some way, because especially in Canada, it can be perceived as you being closed to receiving information to exchange. But I know that, for example, in Turkey, when you cover, you cross your arms like this, it's a matter of being respectful. Or in Asia cultures, when you do not look to that, you look down, it means respect. But remember that you're applying for the company in German, in US, in Canada, and they are used to something different. So that's something very important to use on the tell me about yourself, not only for the interview, but for our video in the English verification. But that's long, but it's important, but it's not all. Now it's time for you to think about what you're going to actually say. In the English verification, you cannot, but in the specific role, in the interview itself, tailor your answer to the role. What I mean by that, maybe you are a CTO, but the position you got, the interview, it's for a front end developer. You're not going to give them examples or about your managerial position where you have a big team and all the CTO challenges. You're going to remember maybe 10 years ago when you were a front end and you came up with that idea and you had a difficult challenge in that time, and you're going to bring it up in your tell me about yourself. You are going to do not the best version of you, but the one that connects better with the position you applied. You're going to inject some passion. So why are you excited to work in this company? Why are you excited to move abroad? Why are you excited about the future, a framework, your ability? It doesn't really matter as long as you're passionate for something. You're going to stick to positivity. I know it can be hard. We have COVID here. We don't know the future. We don't know how many people will go through without losing their jobs. But you can always say something negative in a positive way. I'm going to give you my example. I came from Brazil almost 6 years ago. I moved to Canada. I'm in Vancouver right now. And the reason why I moved from Brazil was security. I'm from Rio, which is a very dangerous city. I could say I just couldn't take Rio anymore. It was just very unsafe. I could not walk in the streets. It was danger. I was almost robbed 10 times. I was robbed more than once. This is negative. It's heavy. But what I can say is I'm looking for a place where I can walk with my phone without concerns, that I can buy an iPad and carry in my hand without worrying who is around. I know that I can feel safe in Canada, and that's the reason I'm just can't wait to COVID to go away and I can move right away. So I can be very specific, positive, and show my passion in just one sentence. So that doesn't mean that your tell me about yourself has to be big. That's the reason we recommend, you can go more or lower, but we recommend anything from a minute to two. It's more than enough, but it's nice to have a little elevator pitch, which is around 30 seconds, which is the summary of the tell me about yourself. Be succinct, practice, but do not memorize. Do not come and say and feel like you're reading from a paper, because this will put your score low. And I'm living proof of that. Especially for tell me about yourself. I have done so many times that it's almost like I'm reading from a piece of paper. And when I joined VanHack, the first thing I did was to go for my feedback. I know candidates cannot see feedback. So that's the reason I give my example. Being part of the company, I went there and I took a look, and it was exactly that made me come from fluent to advanced, because it felt like I was reading, and I was not reading. It was just that I did that so many times. So make sure to be you. That's it. This survey about the visual itself, it was made with over 2,000 hiring managers. So that's very important to take time. And on their point of view, it takes around 90 seconds to decide if they will hire someone or not. So remember that 90 seconds, it's less than your full tell me about yourself. Makes sense. Do I have any questions? You can type, but only related to tell me about yourself. So I can read, I can mention something else, and I will come to questions later because it's not related to English yet. Perfect. So this is just the first question for the English verification. And I want to say one extra thing. The videos you recorded for the English verification, it's, you can make others see, you can allow others to see. Companies will see no matter what, even if you don't allow, but I highly recommend for you to allow companies and other candidates to see. The reason is companies will have a short resume, a first impression of you that you control. You prepared, you are not nervous, you are full of confidence, you are ready for that, and that's it. If you go in your profile and you press allow for public viewing, you allow other people to see you. And maybe today it may sound weird. You can say, but Fernanda, I'm actually applying for the same position as Edgar. Why should I allow him to see my video? But you don't know if Andre already got a position. And then he's actually looking for someone to be his next coworker, but they are not yet in the point where they're gonna hire someone. So they haven't reached out for VanHack and asked, oh, we wanted a candidate with so-and-so experience. But if he's able to see, you never know what can happen. And remember how important networking is. You never know from where your next job can come. So I highly recommend, but it's up to you. I got a couple of very funny comments on this suggestion, which says that how can I allow a public video for a company that literally calls themselves VanHack, that hacks through videos? I understand that, but our intention is not to hack anyone. It's to get you a job abroad. Our intention is not to share your videos as a training purpose for us. It's not about teaching you how to be better or worse or how to steal ideas from each other. It's about getting everyone a job. And I can tell you that we get more positions than candidates, than qualified candidates. We have 7,000 or 74, if I'm not wrong, 100 candidates. But how many of those are actually here today? I can tell you that today we have 115. We have more positions open than people here today with me. So do not worry about others. Do your best and trust that if Google wants to steal information, they're not going to come to VanHack. They're going to go to Zoom. They're going to go to Facebook. We're just too tiny for you to worry with that things if you really want that job abroad. And we do all our diligence to make sure that your data is always safe. Let's move to the second block. Can tell me about a stressful situation at work, discuss a technical challenge you have faced, what is your greatest accomplishment? This is actually my favorite strategy and will help you a lot during profile completion and resume building. Think about any project you have done, any situation you have been, any problem you solved, any challenge you faced, any. It doesn't have to be your completely position. It can be very specific. For example, you already know everything that I do, but I'm gonna choose to do the STAR methodology for today's webinar. And today's gonna be great because we had so many problems that it's gonna make a lot of sense. So the situation is the webinar itself. The task can be also the webinar itself, but I can choose that the task is choosing, sending the wrong password, needing to change my password last minute, or I can use that an action, I can use that as a result. So let's talk about the full picture about the webinar today. Today, we have a webinar that's been open for applications for over a month. That I sent a reminder with the link for the Zoom and the password and the room yesterday. I sent it as an email and as a Google Calendar. I opened up the class like 15 minutes early, and when I saw no one there, I was like, something is wrong. So I started researching. I saw a couple of emails saying that the password was wrong. So I had to solve that problem. The way I solved was I sent on Slack the new password, both Slacks that we have. I sent an email. I changed it in the Google Calendar. So that was the situation. The result is, although it was super confusing, we have right now live together 116 candidates with me. Most likely some came in and out and in and out. So my guess is that at least 150 people joined today. So that's the full picture. I'm going to choose a situation. Situation is having a webinar that it's open for over 30 days about interview strategies. The task was actually having the webinar on Zoom live so you could see everything that I'm talking about. The actions could be I got the wrong password, so I'm giving them a weakness so they can understand if that is acceptable or not. But I'm gonna give a weakness solved. I by mistake send the password wrong, which I'm not even 100% sure because I made a copy and paste, so I change it. But I'm gonna own the mistake and say I sent with the wrong password. But the way I fixed action and action of the action, as you can see, the action wrong password. What are the solving actions? I send a message on Slack, on email, and everybody got the right password. Something else, I created a presentation a month ago and I rehearsed a lot of times to make sure that everything would fit in the exactly amount of time. But today, because I had some technical challenges, it might not. That is fine because from what I could tell, the participants were super engaged. It's very hard to have people with their camera on, and most of them were with the camera on. So that's very important for me. Another action that I can share is that I actually host this webinar every single month on the second Tuesday of the month, 9 a.m. The reason why I chose hosting that in the same time, in the same day every month, is so people can get used to, if they feel like they want to retake, they know exactly when will be, they can plan for that. And this is an action that I chose. It's not my boss that came up. It's not the company that chose. It was me. So that I'm giving them reasons why I'm different than anyone else that hosts webinar. In the result, I can say something huge, like for example, and after that I post on YouTube and we had over X amount of views. Or for me, one huge result was that on my poll on Zoom, almost 97 of you replied. That's rare. People tend to just ignore the poll. So that's something that for me was a huge result. Another result can be, and after today, I always double check, and now I'm not gonna allow Zoom to create the password. I'm gonna create the password myself so I can guarantee that that mistake will never happen again. I can short that answer to resume. I can expand that answer if it was something a lot more challenging. I can describe more about the situation. I can say, for example, if this was a webinar for Brazilians only, I would actually wait another 15 minutes to start because I know that Brazilians tend to take longer. Mexicans as well. If it was someone just focused in Germany, I would start 5 minutes early. If it was for Canadians, I would start five minutes early because then I can provide the situation of my culture. So they don't have to assume why I start 9 sharp. I give them the reason why I start 9 sharp. This strategy is called STAR strategy, but there are people who call CAR strategy, which stands for context, action, and result. Some people call PAR, which is problem, action, and result. So you're going to have a lot of information. Just go on Google and see for your own experience how you can divide that. I'm going to skip, and I'm not going to ask if you have questions right now because I want to make sure that I complete the presentation before our time is done. And then I'm going to answer all the questions. So if you send a question, I'm gonna send a message now. Send questions. Copy and paste from the message you sent before because it will be easier. But the last block will be: why should we hire you? What are your goals? And where do you see yourself? So those questions can be answered very different. So I'm going to give you a strategy to think before the interview, and that reflection will allow you to answer those questions. This is going to be different than the other strategies where I gave you step by step how to answer. This is going to be a reflection that will empower you to answer it. The first reflection is know the company. But Fernanda, on the job post, there is not the name of the company. You are right, because our hiring team, our recruiters will go to your page. They're going to see, they have all the information for the job. They're going to see if you're the right candidates. They're going to investigate your profile, your English verification, your code challenge, and then they will reach out to you. Big flag here, not red, but important, like siren or something. Our deal with the hiring companies are, if they send a position for us today, we will send a couple of candidates with less than 48 hours. So if you're not sure about looking our job board every single day or joining our Slack channel, here is the reason why you should. If you apply within minutes for the position, your chances it's higher than anyone else. If you apply in 24 hours, your chances are still high, very high. If you apply with 49 hours, your chances are low. And I mean low. I'm not saying high, I mean low. Because if the company likes that first batch of candidates, they might not even want to look for more people. So in that sense, it might take very long for you to get a reply. It may take months before you actually get a reply, because they are going up to the end of the interview with that company, with a specific candidate, and we will only close that position once someone gets hired or the company says, I don't want to hire anymore. The reason why we keep that open, and when we send those candidates, we don't remove the job post, is because anytime, even in the last interview, the company can come to us and say, I thought this was the candidate, but it's not. And we are going to go through the people who applied before during this waiting period. But the demands will be a lot higher, a lot more demands, a lot more expectations, a lot of more a higher code challenge, higher English verification, a lot of more expectations. And when you get to that interview, it doesn't matter if you applied within the 48 hours or after the 48 hours, because sometimes it happens in the last stage. The company says, I don't want to hire this person, let's start all over. It's where you're going to get the name of the company. When that happens, you have to research the company. You have to know everything that the company does, how the company works, because you want to go from the first interview to the last interview. You don't want to be the one who is dropped out in the middle of the process. But everyone is doing the research. So even if you do your best, it might not be the reason. So what are the most important qualifications for this company perspective? This is the type of answer, the type of question that you might not be able to see on their website. But if you assume things and you go for the first interview, you can ask HR exactly that question. And then you're going to have a strong answer to combine with knowing the job, because you know the job as soon as you apply. You have the job description there. So what makes me different from anyone for that job? After you know what the company does generically, you ask the question more specific, and then you have to make the connection about the job you already know. You can show the differentiation for you. On top of that, if you are very self-aware about your style, your accomplishments, yourself, your hopes, your dreams, you can make a combination of that. And that's the reason why they should hire you and not anyone else. A combination of what you know about them, what you know about the job, what you know about yourself in the present, in the past, and in the future. That can be very tricky. and it can change with time, and it can change within the interview, but always make the connection. I know that you, VanHack, it's targeting immigrants to get a job abroad. I know that the position of that you are hiring, it's actually to help immigrants to move abroad with the job post. I've been there. I know how hard it can be to move abroad. I know how hard it can be to express yourself. I know how hard it can be to understand the cultural differences. I'm the person for you. I know that today I can start by hosting webinars, and tomorrow we can go a lot further. We can go to a TED Talk together. I can give a TED Talk about VanHack. I can help the owner to get to a TED Talk. I can help the owner prepare for the TED Talk, because my understanding is I know how hard it is. I've been there. Ilya, for example, lived in Brazil a long time. So he also knows that pain, but he has the pain the opposite of me. So maybe what I can say is I watched a webinar from Ilya and he gave me a point of view that it's very interesting. But for me, it was exactly the opposite. I can challenge by the research that I did. And that's why you should hire me and not another person, and not even someone who maybe have more experience than me, because I know how hard it can be an immigrant. That's my biggest differentiator. I see a lot of faces that are not giving me expression, so I'm going to take as concentration. I don't know if it makes sense or not. All right, let's move on. Remember in this slide that I said, this is a great question to ask HR? That's exactly what happens in the end of every interview. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions for the company? Do you have any questions for the opportunity? This is actually our third question for the English verification. We want to know how you can express your wants by asking. This is one of the most important questions in the English verification and in the interview, because it's the only one that you show the company, you show VanHack, that you understand that although this is a hiring process, the interview is both ways. You are interviewing me and I'm interviewing you. So always have a question by the end. Always. Even if it's simple as what is going to be the next steps? But I highly recommend you to go above that. And that's the reason I brought us some examples here. But if you go to our courses at the VanHack free page, you're going to have an ebook with Ask Smart Questions. So first question, can you show me examples of the project I would be working on? What gets you most excited about the company's future? This is a great one for HR, for hiring manager, even for the CEO, for the CTO. Can you tell me about the team I will be working with? For example, I told you I'm very informal. Imagine if all my team workers are very formal. I want to know. I want to know if this is the right company for me. What do the most successful new hires do in their first month? Those questions give you power to readjust your next interview towards what they're expecting. Is there anything else that I can provide you with that would be helpful? For example, maybe you didn't mention that you have a Scrum Master because you did actually a virtual one, but you don't have the certification just yet. Maybe in that moment, they're going to say, you know what? The only thing that I'm kind of concerned is that you don't have Scrum Master. You can say, yes, you're right. I'm still working on the certification, but I already completed the course. So I have the skills, but I don't have the certification yet. Maybe by the time I get hired, I will. It's on my timeline for the next 2 months. I'm considering to take that next week. You can break any negative from the hiring partner or hiring manager or who else is interviewing you. And just to rephrase in the reason why our English verification is the way it is and why it's important because although maybe you have English on CELPEP, you have TOEFL, you have any very straightforward proficiency test, This is a work environment. This is us knowing if you're going to do well on your English in an interview, even before your mock interview. Because when you get an interview, you're going to train you. But this is our hint about how it's going to be. So our first question is tell me about yourself. Your second question is discuss a technical challenge. And the third question is tell us what you would ask in an interview. Those answers can come from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. A lot of people finish within 15 minutes, but I think that a nice timing would be an hour because you have instructions for each question. You can stop, get a glass of water, come back, think about how you want to reply. You can readjust the lamp, you can double check the sound, and that will allow you to have a high score. All you need to do is come here. I took from my Prime, but it's in yours going to show in the top, otherwise more, and you go to your English verification. Recruiters and companies will be able to see if you allow in your profile. What I mean by that, once you record, you are allowing our internal recruiters and our current company, our current hiring partners to see. But we have other companies and other companies who also have recruiters that only if you allow on your profile that will be able. So this will give you a bigger reach. So I highly recommend take advantage and show off your skills on that. But Fernanda, I recorded my Tell Me About Yourself 3 years ago. Can I take it again? Yes. I recorded yesterday. You can retake in 30 days from today. Every 30 days. If you feel like you need, go for it. My recommendation is if you have advanced or fluent, go do something else with your time because you already reached the maximum for our system. If fluent and advanced, they are rated exactly the same. Nice. All right. So now is the real time for questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do a huge line questions. I'm not going to open any microphones because it will be easier for me just to read. No need to retake advance. I have more than 10 years of experience to cover all these years in focusing most challenge experience. I love this question. This is the typical question that I would say, oh my God, there it comes, a question where it's so personal that I'm not going to be able to answer. But you made generic, so great job, João. I have more than 10 years of experience. Great, a lot of experience. Typical VanHacker hired have at least more than 5. A lot of people ask for juniors, so I can tell you that we don't have many juniors. At least 4 to 5 years minimum. It's the people that tend to get hired. We have exceptions for everything. I need to cover all of these years. No. Or I just focus on the most challenging experience. There is the tricky, and that's the very piece that I loved about your question. Do you target all the years? No. What do you target? You target in your dream job. Let's assume I'm going to assume you're Brazilian because you're João, but you could be Mexican or Portuguese. But I'm going to assume you're coming from Brazil. And in Brazil, you will have this very senior level, but you want so much to move to Canada that you are considering lower positions. So in that case, you are going to give examples. You're going to give your most challenge experience for that situation. You are in Brazil, but you don't really care if you're going to move to Canada or not because you want a managerial role. You want the greatest job in the world. You want to go to this very specific job. You choose examples on those years that relates the most challenge experience for that dream job. So what is your next job abroad? What is your expectation for that job? And then you select the years, the experience, and the most challenging experience for that point. I repeat in case you missed. Thank you. Yes, please repeat. If there is any chance that you could spoil the first impression by your questions. No, there is no way you can mess it up. For example, for me, it's very important to have flexibility on timing. I have migraines, and I know it can sound almost like crazy to consider that a problem, but I have really bad migraines. I need to work in a place where they allow me to send a message and say, I cannot work today. I will cover the hours later on. I will cover the hours in another day, or I actually need a sick day. So that's the type of wrong thing to say in an interview. I have migraines and I need some time off now and then. Are you able to trust me that I will not miss any hours of work, but I might work in odd hours? This is the typical question that I got rejected by many companies. But this is so important for me. You have no idea. I just can pretend to work or I can work for real. If the person agree that they want an employee that works for real, sometimes I need time off. And even if they say, I don't want to hire you for that, it's fine because I also don't want to work for them for that. I want to work in a place that it makes sense. But let's say you ask a question that it's not important to you, and then can damage any impression. For example, uh, why the person who was working in this position got fired? It's negatively. You don't get a honest answer, and that can be kind of like messing up your first impression in a way. But if you phrase the same question, like what the successful candidate needs to have or to be successful, you are almost having the same intention in a completely different way. So my answer for you, if is there any chance that you spoil the first impression by your questions? Yes, by being negative. Do everything you can to be positive. If my code challenge is close to 70, but in the job offer ask for 7, should I apply? Yes. But I'm crazy. I'm the person who is going to say, even if you have 20%, I would say yes. But besides yes, I would say go there and take it again as soon as you can. Because the higher the percentage of the match for the position, the higher are your chances. But do not um, ignore a position that you feel like you are the right candidate for any reason. Apply and let the recruiter decide. But accept that you're going to have a lot of negatives, that you're going to have a lot of time between waiting for the interview. Make a decision. Are you okay with applying in with the strategy of numbers, applying for many and a lower return on those, or you want to be targeted? You choose. But in my opinion, I would apply. Why always my application get rejected or gone on hold? Is real vacant or just show off? I'm going to answer the first part because I got, and then you can explain the second part. Why always your application get rejected or gone on hold? I'm going to give you a generic answer because I cannot give you one. Reasons why people get on hold or rejected. Bad bad profile can be described in many reasons. I'm just going to say bad because it's easier. Not a lot of information, no differentiation on your profile among other people. I program in React. This is a bad profile. You and everyone in VanHack can add that line. How do you use React? What are the projects you work? How many people you worked with? How many projects you have completed? How many years of experience? This is a good profile. I program with React, bad profile. Other cases, you applied after a few days and you are still waiting. We VanHack are still waiting for the company to say yes or no. So you're going to be on hold. No one knows what is going on. No, you're not going to know. We're going to just let you know when something very formal comes in or out. Other situation, maybe your English is not, the level of the English is not high enough. Maybe there are so many candidates that someone expressed themselves better or in a different way, or they perceived as more qualified than you. Maybe the preference can be something very obvious, and maybe it can be something very simple. For example, um, a lot of companies are making the extra effort to hire female candidates. Maybe all that the reason why you didn't got selected, it's because they are choosing just to have female candidates. That's the reason we have now female events. So we don't get caught in the middle of that desire of the company. Is that right? Is that wrong? I'm not going to get in that matter because everyone has their own opinion. I'm just stating what is true. There are preferences for gender, for speciality, for this is a good one that I don't know if you all know. There are preference for time zone. They might choose someone else because the time zone is closer to the company. This was never a problem with VanHack because all our positions were relocation. So even if the person was in India and they got hired in Vancouver, which is like, I don't know, 11-hour differences, it doesn't matter because soon they would be relocating. But now with COVID, the relocation is taking longer. So if they have a candidate in Portugal or a candidate in South Africa, they will choose the candidate who has the closer time zone because then it will be easier for everyone. It will be easier to adjust. Again, I'm not talking about being fair. I'm talking about our clients' needs, and that's how we work on. It can be frustrating. I know. I'm sorry for that. Oh, thank you. Great. Thank you. A lot of people had to leave, but they're saying they appreciate, which is great. I'm gonna read one question just to say that I'm not gonna answer because it's very specific. I have been in the development around 20 plus years, and I currently chose to be in the front end development. What would be my chances? I cannot give you this answer. I would be lying if I give you a number. I would be lying if I say medium, high, or low. It all depends on what the companies that work with us are wanting. For example, a lot of people are QAs and they say, I never see QA positions. We don't have control of of what the companies want. We only have control of who we provide them. So 20 years, good or bad, I don't know. The company has to decide. Front end development, good or bad, I don't know. The company decides. What are the chances? I don't know. The company decides. We do our diligence, but the company decides. So there's no way that I can answer this question being honest with you. Thanks for sharing. No, you're welcome. I completed the code challenge a few years ago. Should I take it again? Great question. And the answer is I don't know. I'm going to give you a bit of explanation and you decide, Jose. We changed our supplier in the end of 2020. We used to have HackerHank. We now have Qualified.io. If you got a score at a HackerHank, you are good. It doesn't impact on your application. But if you want to get a higher score, it's a completely different view, intention, so on and so forth. So if you feel like it would be interesting to go for it, go for it. It doesn't lower your score. You will always be considered your higher score. So that's not a concern. But if you don't have time, if you want to maybe improve your profile or do something else, there is no problem. We don't have an expired date for code challenge. We'll have for English, but we don't for code challenge. So it's up to you. But something interesting is that by changing our supplier, we changed the code challenge we have. And in that case, it might be that the challenge you took, there is not available anymore. For example, DevOps, we used to have DevOps, now we don't. So it's up to you. Go there and check it out and make your decision. But for English verification, I will talk to you right now, all of you, as you were kids. And don't be mad at me, but please, guys, we put a lot of effort to help you out, and I want you to understand that everything has an intention. So for English verification or for code challenge, read the frequent asked questions. But especially for code challenge, I want to show you everything here so you can make a smart decision to take it or not take. Come to our profile. Here's the challenge that I started but never opened, so it's still in progress, or the ones that I completed and the score. But before you come here to start a new challenge, come here. How does it work? I receive over 20 emails every day asking about how my score is wrong. I got everything right, but my score is wrong. Your score is not wrong. if you read here, when you complete your English verification, you have access to our some of the tests that we run in the platform, that we run in your code. But there are many other hidden tests that you cannot see. So although if you complete your your code challenge, and you still have 100% in there before you submit, you cannot see if that 100% is accurate or not, because it only ran to the open tests. It will only run to the hidden tests when you submit. So even if you feel like you got 100%, you might not, because the hidden tests are just after the final submit. All that is detailed in here. The 24 hours here, the intention, what is the right challenge, why is it important to have the right challenge, questions about what you do. Like, for example, I just said there is no passing or failing, but we consider 70% a good score. Those are things that you can see right here. Why is it important? What if I submit within the deadline? What is everything that you want to know? It's right here. So read here before starting your challenge, because that will empower you to increase your chances. I'm not going to be able to read all the questions. I can see that we have a lot of them, but I'm going to stay another 10 minutes and then we can close. All right. Uh, Thank you for sharing. Can you make English verification videos available on your profile? Yes, you can. You can come here on the picture, profile. Let me leave this one here because I don't want to lose. And right here, general, make my intro videos public, off, on. That's all you need to do. Question. I can see here that there are a lot of questions about profiles. So my recommendation is keep your eyes open. I will set up today a new event called 4 Steps to Get Hired, or come in our, let me put this down, YouTube channel, VanHack 4 Steps. Right here, you can see all the webinar about how to get hired abroad and the profile, how to improve your profile. I'm gonna send here to everyone as a link so you can check it out later. Is there any advantage for taking code challenge than other candidates? Yes, we part of the way we evaluate is to code challenge. So yes, sorry. Some positions are hanging a long period. What is happening usually in the background? I mean, employees cannot find the right candidate and continue research or something else. This is one option. It may take longer because they're still looking for the right candidate, because they have longer interviews. For example, VanHack, to get hired at VanHack, there is one interview that it's 3 hours. Can you imagine how hard it can be to find time with the CEO and other leaders for a 3-hour block? It can take weeks to book that. So that could be one case too. I have more than 10 years of experience in different technologies. I can only add 3 main skills and 5 secondary skills. If I apply for a role that have the skills listed in my resume but not listed at VanHack, would I have lesser chances of being selected for interview? No, you don't have. But let me come back to profile. I guess this is a very great question. And it will help everyone. If you come to your profile, my recommendation for you, it's when you are adding the skills right here, that you connect those skills with the IM, which is your dream next job. Like I said, it can be DevOps, it can be front end, it can be exactly the other way, but you connect with this one because we go through all those answers and we have a system that grades you in percentage. And the more it's your skills and your secondary skills match with the position you applied, the higher will be the match. But we also have your resume here, where it is here, your resume and your LinkedIn. So our recruiters can always go there and take a look. And they do that very, very often. But this is a way that makes easier for them to choose out of the 500 candidates we have for each position, which are the 100 or 50 that they will look deeper. Is there any position for cybersecurity professionals? Like I said, we don't know what the companies will be looking for. What I can say is that if there are, will be very low. And why do I say that? Because, for example, let's think about VanHack because it's going to be easier. VanHack has today 40 employees. Out of HR, we have one. Success support to candidates, we have maybe, I don't know, I'm going to just say 10. We are going to have 10 recruiters, for example, and we are going to have 10 from tech. We are going to have one, which is 30, and maybe let's say that we have 8 for marketing. And we are going to have maybe one time to time QA. Because these people, the people from the tech world, they can cover up for this one QA. So of course, we're going to have 10 openings for developers and time to time, one for QA. Cybersecurity, it's the same case. How many developers for each cybersecurity in a company of 40, for example? So that's the reason we might have today, we might have tomorrow, and we might not ever have it again. Clear drawing. Do any tied up C#, C++ development company or some networking, because I saw very limited opening. Same idea. It depends on the company. The company comes to us, I need so-and-so, we just repost. But if they don't plan, we cannot plan. And they normally don't plan. Tips for a coming hiring event. You are going to have a lot of material. Don't worry. We're going to set online courses. We're going to have virtual meetings. You're going to have everything you need. So don't worry about that now. Just enjoy the fact that your profile is good, but it can always be better. Even if you put all the effort in the world, it can always be better. So I would highly recommend you to target your profile and go through the STAR strategy. If you were here or if you were not, I would target thinking about STAR strategies to improve your English verification, to improve your profile, to get to know yourself better before the event. You're welcome. Code challenges are not mandatory, it's optional. But highly recommended. English verification is mandatory, even if you're a native speaker, even if you already have another proficiency test, it's mandatory for every single one. You're welcome. Being shortlisted can mean many things. My idea for the word, the way VanHack uses a lot, you being shortlisted from VanHack to the companies. Then the companies will shortlist it again and tell us who they want to interview. So yes, in my point of view, in my opinion, in my guess, is the previous selection of the company. Nice. I'm sorry for that. I didn't know that Manila time zone does not work very well with the webinar. I promised I would do earlier, but you would not enjoy anything because before 9 a.m., no one wants to meet me. I'm the worst. I'm grumpy. I cannot express myself. So I promise that this is the earliest I can do and still be engaging enough for this webinar. What I can do is I can try to do later. I can talk to my boss and see if she wants to maybe ask me, maybe I can do 8 o'clock here in Vancouver, time to time. I can talk to her and see what I can do. What is the first interview but not second? I had my first interview but not seconds. Should I think they are negative or should I wait? You should wait. Honestly, I don't try to understand other people. Sometimes I cannot understand myself. Like, how can you assume things about other people? Did they like, they did not like, they like a lot, they like less? Did I say something right, something wrong? Be yourself. If it works, great. If didn't work, it's actually a blessing. Because can you imagine, you got hired, you move with your family or alone to Vancouver and you get here and you get fired. Be you. Understand the negative as a good thing, as a lifesaver, as less messy, as less trouble. Um, just change your mindset to the reality. Looking for a job abroad is higher. Getting a job abroad is very, very, very hard. Um, and very expensive, which you are not paying, which makes even more harder. Because if you say something is for free, a lot more people try. What if I had 1 year of experience? Can I still list that skill? Yes. You can always make a combination between very long, like very strong skills that you had for over 10 years with just 1 year, but years of experience. If you're just graduating from university, it might happen that we don't have positions for you, or that we're going to have very few positions. Before you say, some of you ask why, the reason is they're going to be investing a lot of money in you. Why they would invest in something that they are not sure they will get a return? If they're not sure they're going to get a return, they can just go to a company or to a university here in Vancouver and not spend the amount of money that they will need to spend for visa. So junior, it can be harder. If you are junior and you still want to move to Canada, my personal suggestion and what I actually did, it's move to Canada on your own and study here. Your chances as a junior being local, it's higher than abroad. But this is very expensive, so it's a very tough decision. But it was what I did. What is your speculation about future positions that could open in VanHack in the first in future? No expectations, no speculations, literally no idea. Recruiters have an idea. I'm not a recruiter, so I'm not gonna even try to answer this question. No idea, not even close. People with less than 6 years can participate in the hiring event. You can, but not on the current hiring event. Current hiring event is 7+ years. We have events all the time. We have the virtual, which is, let me show you here. Not an event, but a regular hiring process where you can just come in the job pipe and see all the positions. By coming here and you see UX UI, this is a very rare position, very rare. It's exactly because of that mindset where you need more developers than UX UI. So if you do, that's a great point for you. We have a lot of openings. So right now we have 195 positions open. It's a lot of positions. So go to the ones that connects with your strategy, and that will be my suggestion for you. Why the company name is not shortlisted in the job listing? This is a business strategy. That's how it is. It's how it's going to be. Once you get selected, you will get to know the job, the list of the company. What is the speculation about position? Okay, I already had that one. For companies which has only Python language as a requirement, does having other code challenges can help in any way? My opinion, yes. The more you show that you have experience, the better. But think about your time. How much time you have to show that? It's better if you have a very, very high score on Python only than okay Python, okay something else. So it's about strategy. Choose your strategy. My strategy is best Python ever. If I still have time, go for others. You're welcome. What is the validity of English verification? I don't exactly understand what you mean by validity, but what I can say is the only way you can apply at VanHack is if you complete your English verification. If you don't complete, it's like you've never been at VanHack at all, because you cannot apply for position, you cannot be selected for positions. So I guess the validity is ability to apply. You're welcome. The slides, you can have the recording, so we'll naturally get the slides as well. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Nice. I guess I covered all the questions. I have completed the English verification and I want to know if there is an expired of the same. We don't have expiring date yet. We are considered to do 2 years of expiring, but not yet. So you are good. No worries. A lot of people who joined VanHack between 5 and 3 years ago, which means before 2019, I recommend you to go there because you probably did your English verification over the phone, and now being video, it's a higher chances of you to make that first impression. Can I see the English verification at the platform before I do it again? If you are gonna do it again, you already saw nothing had changed, but I can show here how it looks, because once you start English verification, you have 3 hours. So just the same messages showed, a lot of questions, understanding the levels, all your questions can be answered here. And when you click start, you have even more detailed information here. Open up your camera, the sound, you have 3 hours to complete it. Yes, this meeting, you can find another recording one on YouTube. Let me just put this one here. It's not gonna be 2 days because I need some time to complete. This is the 4 steps. Let me find the videos. I can send here the other recording one. Interview strategies, there you go. So it's exactly the same presentation, just different QA, different day, but it's the same presentation. I'm gonna send for everyone. There you go, you can get it. I hope to see you all in Vancouver too. It's gonna be so fun. You all will owe me a coffee because you're gonna make a ton of money so you can afford coffee for me. You're welcome. It was great. Thank you for the great questions. I loved you all. It was very engaged, and thank you for having the camera on and being here another half an hour and being understanding was great. If I can help with anything, just send me an email. Email, it's a lot easier than Slack, but I try my best to take a look at Slack every week or so, okay? Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great day.